I'm going to say is really important for everybody to know. And that is that now so many people are praying about America because, you know, it's pretty bad when your $29 trillion worth of debt in this country, and you've got these crazies that want to put out 3, 4, 5. Now, we already had like $4 trillion, and nobody's even talking about during the COVID spending sprees that went out through the fat budget sausage maker of Washington. You got everything from NPR to the Kennedy Center getting hundreds of millions, $100 million coming out there to fund these liberal-related organizations that get their people in office, and then they want to get their trillions of dollars funded back to them. It's oh my gosh, for the average American, for the tax-paying, laboring, trying to keep up with this and watch the news, America, this is a difficult time to be alive. But you need to be encouraged because something significant is at work here, and there is a prayer strategy I want to give you for those of you that are praying people. And it's a prayer from the Psalms of David. And when David was besieged, what's happening now is human nature. There are no new emotions. There are no new senses. No matter how sophisticated technology gets, human nature is still subject to the same fundamental greed, lust, anger, revenge, shame, bitterness, depression, suicide. The emotional matrix of humanity has never changed. It's just the sophistication of the ways in which we engage our world has scientifically advanced. And I'm saying that for a reason. David had intrigues just like any political battle that you're in. In the United States, we're dealing with traitors that are literally operating in high places. And David was surrounded by palace intrigues and Absalom, who tried to take him out and seduce the people, literally almost like a modern day media propaganda blitz, so that the people turned against David, who had brought so much prosperity and blessings to him. It's like a modern day tale with Trump and the United States, how you have these. And David prayed certain prayers, and those prayers work. And some of those prayers are working right now, and you need to know, for you that are looking for the Great American Awakening, what's happening. And one of the things that David prayed was, "Oh, Lord, divide their tongues," meaning cause division to enter into the ranks of my enemies. And this is a valid prayer, and it's something which is happening right now. And I'll tell you why I know that. Because Nancy Pelosi, you see, I'm always getting her name. It's like Kamala. I'm trying to get it straight all the time. So Pelosi was intent on accomplishing getting that some form of the $1.8 trillion deal through. To get some spending money, to get some of the machinery moving, move that money through Washington, because two things were important for her. She wanted to give Terry McAuliffe a chance to be able to hitch his wagon to that money-making machine of Washington, and so that in Virginia he could start to tout how we're making progress and trillions of dollars is being released so that states like Virginia can make progress, and I'm really dialed in with them, and I'm close, and I'm going to get us our fair chunk of money out of Washington. He couldn't do it because Nancy couldn't deliver the goods. She was trying to get something by Tuesday. And she wanted Biden to go to Glasgow with his $500 billion energy climate investment bragging rights. But he couldn't get that done. And she wanted to get it there because she's such an enthusiastic Catholic. She wanted to get it there so when Biden met with Pope Francis, it could be part of we're doing our part to make the world a better place. But you see, even there, on the greedy factory of the left, they couldn't get agreement because the Bernie Sanders wing that controls the Biden administration. Remember, it's Obama, Susan Rice, and Bernie Sanders, his group. They control everything that Biden does. That's why the borders are flooded open and nothing's going to be done about it. You don't see a caravan of Washington staff flying down to the border to go see what's going on. They're flying off to Europe to see how they can make America give up its sovereignty to become part of the one world new climate world order with an economic reset. So divide their tongues is actually working, because it's the radical extremists that want to spend money into the point of bankrupting America. Now, they don't think they're bankrupting America because AOC doesn't have any knowledge about how finances work. But they just want to spend that money, get that money, and spend that money, and do their social reengineering and reprogramming of your youth and children, and making this the Marxist utopia they know they can create. And but they're so belligerent about getting their $3.5 to $5 trillion package that they're not even going to cooperate on basic infrastructure. So they didn't get the deal done. They weren't able to get their bragging rights to go to the Vatican, to go to Glasgow, Scotland, to be able to get Manchin that little bit of boost for his election efforts. And that tells you that dividing their tongues is working. In fact, I have information that has come to me regarding the reason why that Biden wasn't able to get the live film coverage. They wanted to do video coverage of him doing his schmooze fest with the Pope because the Pope is a popular global figure. And so because he's popular, Biden wanted to capitalize on that. And so they were supposed to have this exchange between them, but then the Vatican said that there's not going to be any filming going on because the divided tongues. We couldn't pull off the PR moment that Biden wanted. But he did get this. You know, he was going to be saying, believe that, get this one. This is going to really flip your wig. His main statement he was going to make is how he was going to tell the Pope how he's working so hard to get prayer back in America. It's one of his big priorities is to imagine that. If there's one thing that the Democrats are not into, it's evangelicals and prayer. But he was going to say how he's trying to really bring prayer back to the forefront of America, which would be such a great soundbite. Even the liberal crazies on the left would applaud it because it sounds good to say to the Pope. And the Pope was, supposed to respond in kind. And he gave Biden his line, which is what a great Catholic, Biden is. Now, this is so bizarre because I'm thinking that there's nothing that has a definition anymore, not even Catholicism. So if you're pro same-sex marriage, if you're pro LGBTQ, transgender, if you're pro abortion, what exactly do you represent as a moral baseline of apart from a confession of faith? What do you put into practice actually that is measurable in Catholic terms with being Orthodox? Well, apparently it doesn't matter to the Pope, and this is going to make a lot of you irate, but everybody actually in the know knows this Pope is Marxist-oriented, that he is all for taking down what he thinks to be the evil of business. He doesn't separate hardworking small business owners from the big corporations. It's just all kind of like business as a selfish enterprise, which is absolutely ignorant. Because there's nothing in the history of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the very foundation of the Judeo-Christian hope that creates the Catholic Church as an existence. There's nothing that is more legitimate in the Bible than God giving gifts to people to utilize creativity to create wealth so that the standard of living for everyone can go up to the next level. To be an enemy of enterprise is an evidence of something that this is the essence of what Marxism is. Where does the money and the wealth come from for redistribution? If you've destroyed the economic capability of a country, there's no money to redistribute. It's like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works until you don't have the ability to tax people that have money because nobody has money anymore. Then it all breaks down. So here's the story. The Pope gives his little absolution to Biden. Biden gets to say he's a good Catholic. The Pope told him so, and they have their little bonding moment. And what you see here is, from my perspective, and I think that I have the mind of what the Bible says in this. You're seeing the beginning stages of the fusion of big religion and big global government, which is going down the slippery slope of global, a one world type of religious fusion of Catholic endorsement and weak Protestant preachers with magnetic personality politicians who are populous in terms of their rhetoric, but elites in terms of who they're really empowering. This is a very dangerous time, but dividing of the tongues. Like I said, it didn't work. They didn't get their beautiful moment that they wanted to do, so they had to hobble it together with photographs and sound bites. But just rest assured that the Pope and Biden had their schmooze fest moment, and it's not going to have any effect that is of significance.
Hey, if you haven't seen me around as much on the platform recently, it's because all the explosive, incendiary things that I want to say, the Lance Rants, are on the podcast. Go to lancewalnut.com/podcast and hear the unbridled utterance of a Lance Rant.